5, 3, 1, let's go. In the lunar, let's go live now. The live event is about to start. Let's go. Wow. Come on, let's go. NASA live event starts soon. Let's go. Wow, we are here.
Mission is a test mission of the Orion space capsule.
Artemis II will be the first time we put humans on this rocket. We're going back to the moon because it's the next step in our journey to Mars.
We were always going to the moon.
Pushing ourselves to explore is just core to who we are. That's a part of being a human.
And liftoff!
We shall return.
Continuing to test out every bit of Orion.
Coming back to Earth, 7 miles a second.
When humanity sets big goals, we can bring together genius from around the world.
You have the best people on planet Earth putting this vehicle together.
That's what's up. To innovate for the benefit of humanity and to inspire the world through discovery.
And here we go.
Welcome to Artemis Mission Control here at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. I'm Leah Cheshire Mustachio. Right now, the Artemis II crew and Mission Control are preparing to support today's lunar flyby, the first time we've sent humans around the moon in over 50 years.
Integrity, you can use the OEs and your HHP camera for the milestone words at the Apollo 13 record distance.
You'll notice that we pause every time we hear communications to and from the crew. They are the stars for today. This afternoon, the crew will have their closest approach of the moon and will surpass the record. That record just mentioned of the furthest humans have ever flown, set by the Apollo 13 astronauts in 1970. You're looking at a live view inside the Orion spacecraft and at our Artemis II crew members. They have just completed their post-sleep period, during which they conduct any hygiene and cabin setup for the day. They also had a chance to eat breakfast before we got into our daily planning conference. The flight control team here in Mission Control Houston collecting information from all consoles around the room that we could relay up to the crew ahead of this monumental day. As you can see on your right, NASA astronaut Christina Cook taking a video of NASA astronaut Victor Glover. We expect to have great views of the crew throughout the day, as well as, of course, the moon. We expect to surpass that Apollo distance record in 55 minutes and 50 seconds. We are now looking live at a camera mounted on one of the spacecraft's solar arrays, pointed to our lunar neighbor. We are currently just 14,200 miles away from the moon and 247,672 miles away from planet Earth.
Houston, integrity for AGA.
Ready to copy.
Carbon dioxide 2.3. Oxygen, which has the alarm, 26.3. 73.1 degrees, 10.3 psi. And one follow-on question. We understand milestone words will be directly following the conference. Will that take the place of the PAO event, or will the PAO event still take place per the timeline?
Good question, Christina. The milestone words that we exchange at the record distance at the end of the conference will take the place of the PAO timelined activity. So that'll be our moment to talk about this occasion, and after that, there will be no more.
Inside the Orion spacecraft, which they have named Integrity, and have been busy conducting meticulously timelined events. It was a beautiful ascent from Kennedy Space Center. One of those early events was the proximity operations demonstration, during which NASA astronaut Victor Glover, the Artemis II pilot, manually flew Orion after having just detached from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage as if they intended to dock. This was practice for future Artemis missions, during which astronauts in Orion will dock with the lunar lander that will take them to the surface of the moon. About 24 hours after launch, 25 hours actually, Orion then conducted TLI, the translunar injection burn. This 5-minute, 50-second burn committed Orion to departing high Earth orbit and set us up for today's flyby. That translunar injection burn also served as the spacecraft's deorbit burn. It slingshots Orion around the moon and sends the crew on a free return trajectory, with splashdown approximately 7:07 p.m. Central on Friday, April 10th. Last night on Flight Day 5, the crew entered the lunar sphere of influence, the point at which the pull of the moon's gravity will become stronger than the pull of Earth's. We've also been getting some great views inside the cabin of the crew members living daily life, from working out to eating, taking photos, and making memories together. But they've also been taking some beautiful views of our home planet and of the moon, and we expect many, many more of those following today's activities. Science instruments and led scientific fieldwork in some of the most remote environments on the planet. Her hobbies include surfing, rock climbing, community service, yoga, travel, and photography. She is certainly getting a chance to do that. First-time flyer, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen is flying to the moon as a mission specialist on the Artemis II mission. The London, Ontario native was selected as an astronaut in 2009. After that, he worked as Capcom at NASA's Mission Control Center here in Houston. Capcom stands for Capsule Communicator and is the single direct voice to have you. So can you tell me about your role as Artemis Curation Lead and what that entails?
Yeah, so for the overall Artemis campaign, I'm the Artemis Lunar Sample Curation Lead. That means I'm helping NASA to return the next set of lunar samples from the lunar surface. And for Artemis II specifically, I'm one of the science theme leads, and specifically I'm responsible, or the voice, for impacts, poles, and landing sites.
Fascinating. So what helped us select the targets that the crew is going to be photographing today?
So we had a plan coming in where we basically made a list of all the available targets during the April launch window, because before you launch, we wouldn't exactly be sure which targets would be visible. And so once we launched, we then were able to cut down on that list and prioritize our targets. And the 5 theme leads came together and really discussed and talked through which
long lens configured for lunar flyby.
Which targets we could then see and prioritize. And so that made it into our plan. We worked then with timeline to make sure that all the targets are visible. Some targets are time dependent, like Earthset or Earthrise, and some targets will rotate out of view when Integrity starts going around the moon. And so we put these in early so that the crew has a chance to describe those to us.
Fascinating. I cannot wait to hear what they have to say. So we just heard them say that their long lens is configured. That's very exciting. And for us, when we look at the moon from Earth, what features are we seeing that the crew will also fly by today?
Yeah, so I really hope that people on Earth who are in nighttime will look up into the moon tonight. The features that the crew will see that we can also currently see is Aristarchus Plateau. Grimaldi is another feature. They're going to be sort of on our limb. And then Oceanus Procellarum, that really dark, large area on the near side that we can see. The crew is going to see that in the beginning. The more they fly around, the less of that they will see. So those are targets we will hear them describe early on in the flyby. Moon means bright areas, and low albedo means like darker areas. And so when you look into the night sky, you can see the high albedo areas are the white parts, and the low albedo ones are the darker areas. Ejecta is when you have an impact and it ejects or throws out material that then ends up on the surface, and you can see that as sort of rays or ray system, so you might have to be confirmed following the flyby to surpass the Apollo 13 record.
Before it's lavender, now we take lemon, put tartar. We will take the lemon. I will send to your daddy to send me. Six potar.
Record for the farthest distance humans have ever traveled from our home planet. At that time, over 55 years ago, Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes flew 248,655 statute miles away from Earth. Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier. Integrity, over to you.
Yeah, from the cabin of Integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth. We do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we most importantly choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
The Artemis II team.
Thank you, Houston. We have a couple more things we'd like to take this moment for. Our science team helped us out with a couple of relatively fresh craters on the moon that have not been previously named, and our crew would like to propose a couple of potential names for those items or those areas. And we spent a bit of time this morning looking out the window, and we're able to see them now both with our naked eye and through the long lens, and so we feel this is a good time to send this down, and a special shout out to Kelsey for helping us with this. The first one we'd like to suggest is a named crater in honor of our great spacecraft Integrity. And so if you were to look at Oriental on the far side and then draw a line straight up to Ohm on the far side, relatively in the middle is an unnamed crater, and we would like to suggest it be called Integrity in the future. And the second one, and especially meaningful for this crew, is a number of years ago we started this journey in our close-knit astronaut family, and we lost a loved one. And there's a feature in a really neat place on the moon, and it is on the near side, far side boundary. In fact, it's just on the near side of that boundary, and so it's certain.
Apollo 13, for the farthest humans to ever fly from Earth, at 12:57 p.m. Central Time, 1:57 p.m. Eastern Time. Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen shared.
We're getting ourselves all put back together now, and we are going to dim the cabin lights and prepare for our science objectives ahead. Thank you.
Sounds good. We're doing the same down here, and you are maneuvering to your observation attitudes.
As we pass that Apollo 13 record of the furthest 55 statute miles from Earth.
And Houston, another observation, whole moon. When you look at the moon, something I've never seen in photographs before, but is very apparent, all the really bright new craters. Some of them are super tiny. Most of them are pretty small. There's a couple that really stand out, obviously. And what it really looks like is like a lampshade with tiny pinprick holes and the light shining through. They are so bright compared to the rest of the moon.
We copy, Christina. Thank you. Looks like you guys might be doing it, but remind you to swap positions at the window and take your SD cards with you. We're loving everything that you're calling down, so keep it up.